When you were here and all the fun we had last year. And welcome to the Midday Show. Another day of giveaways. You look stunned. Are you okay?
It was spinning counterclockwise, and that was messing me up.
Was it throwing you off?
Yeah, it's got to spin. It's got to go clockwise.
But you've been spinning it. Well, no, I guess you've been reaching under the wheel, haven't you? And you've been spinning it
I never even thought about it with that way.
Yeah. You might be
right when I saw it, I was like, Santa's head is going the wrong way.
That's weird.
This way. Yeah, I just kind of grab the leg so I don't knock it off.
I think you have it right. Before I ask you how you're doing today, let's just recap, review. In order to win today, you had to like, comment, or share the video yesterday. So you cannot win today if you did not do that. However, if you would like to win tomorrow, like today's show, Mark's favorite, he prefers the hug. I just found this out. Do you know what it's actually called? It's
Care?
not called.
Is it called?
It's
Care?
called Care.
Yeah.
Yes. So care for the show, hug the show. You can also comment. You can answer that question below us today. Like Clark Griswold, what are some of your best holiday disasters and blunders? We want to hear some good stories today. We're excited for this question.
And if anyone kidnapped their boss, we want to know that.
We do. The last thing that you can do, and this is probably Mark's like 1B to the hug and the care, is you can share this video. Mark likes this because you're basically admitting that you watch the show.
Yes.
Yes. So this is Mark. You
can like it and lie, because there's lots of times we see pictures that people post and we're like, yeah, it's stupid. But if I like it, they'll think that I like it, and then they'll be happy.
Yeah. So you can like, comment, or share. You can do one, or you can do all three if you want to increase your odds, increase your chances to be a winner on tomorrow's show.
I mean, don't you want to win?
I would hope so. Before we get to all of that, Mark, how are you feeling today?
I'm mostly good. Things a little hectic. You know, I come back into work last night. I literally get to the office at 7.
Okay.
And I'm mentally prepared because I had to leave, and then I was coming back, and I was going to do a couple more hours of work, and then I'm here 3 minutes.
Okay.
Call from my daughter. Hey, are you home? No, why? My car won't start. Oh, great. And we don't know what's wrong with it. It's not the battery. We jumped it. It didn't work. So it's still sitting where it was sitting yesterday. And so there's a bill coming my way. We just have to figure out what's wrong with it and how much it's going to cost to fix it.
Okay. Merry Christmas.
So, yes.
Happy holidays.
I just said, what did I say? My daughter might get a brake switch for her birthday or for Christmas, because that is what that's the first thought of what it could be.
There are much worse calls to get. As a kid, as a teenager, college kid, I twice had to call my parents to let them know that I was in an accident. And those are, like, obviously, I can't even imagine the parent on the other end. But from a kid's perspective, like, the horror of having, like, picking up the phone and trying, how do you even start that conversation? So there's worse calls you could have received.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Not that bad. Have you gotten that call yet? Not to put any of them on the spot.
I got a call. Yes. I got a call from the insurance company.
Okay.
And apparently it was minor enough. My daughter didn't tell it, either her mother or myself.
Yeah.
But they exchanged it like it was.
Okay.
And if these people we know, and it was that they backed into the car and then they exchanged information. And she kind of was like, well, why would I want to go home and ruin the mood tonight by telling people that I just backed into someone's? Have you ever backed out of a driveway and into someone's car?
I have not. I have not done that. I've had accidents. I've had fender benders. I've never backed out. There was an incident. I had an incident at a place in State College, a department store, and it was disputed as to, like, I felt like he came into me. He felt like I had backed into him. Dispute. It never went to court. Both of us just went our separate ways, and it was what it was. So I can't sit here and say I've never, like, had an incident where I was backing up, but I can honestly say I've never hit a stationary thing while backing up.
Oh, I hit a telephone pole when I was 16.
Did you? Backing up?
Was Dad proud? We were at a baseball game. I was at a Legion game at Hughesville.
Yeah.
And the old field at Hughesville was kind of like on the edge of town, but it was out into, if you hit a home run to left field, it landed in a cornfield. So I parked right next to a telephone pole. So the telephone pole was at the back passenger side. But when I parked, it was no problem. But when I got in to leave, I just looked in the mirror behind me. And as I backed up, I spun the wheel. So the car went out and like back door, it went up the whole side. Because of course I'm 16, so I didn't back out gingerly. I whipped it out. And the whole side, 2 doors and a quarter panel. Dad was proud of that one.
And that was it.
Yep. That was one of those moments when they're like, we should have stopped with 1 kid.
Yeah, that's a good point. Do you have, like, when your kids pull away, do you get, like, is there an anxiousness, or now is it just like they're kind of out in the world and it is what it is?
The first time my oldest daughter drove away, that was an oh my God moment.
Okay.
Now I'm just kind of used to it. Okay. And you just kind of, here's the thing. We weren't, I mean, you were a teenager.
So were you.
We weren't always the greatest drivers. We were stupid at times. I think my daughters are going to be less stupid than I was, like driving through snow and driving to. So, but there's a level where you just kind of have to cross your fingers and hope for the best, because I don't think any 16-year-old, 17-year-old, is a really, really great driver.
It's reps, right? I mean,
I think so too.
You just can't be, you can be a conscious driver, but it doesn't mean you're safe. Like, until you have the reps. So what I mean by that is, like, you could study the book, you can be conscious of what's around you and everything else, but until you have the reps, like, there's no way. No 16-year-old driver's a safe driver.
No.
Some might be more respectable than others. Some may be more aware, more focused, those types of things. But until you just get behind the wheel and it's just and you're doing it.
And now I've had 2 daughters drive. I have not. My son's only 15, and Carrie always loves when I talk about the gender specifics of driving, male versus female. But I would suspect that my son will be way more confident as a driver. My girls were really nervous, but
early on, that's not always good.
But I think my son will be overconfident before. So I don't know if that'll necessarily make him a better driver at 16, 17, or 18.
Yeah.
But I think there's a different level. Like, they were very conscientious of everything, and, the whole adjust your mirrors and make sure your seat's right. And he, as a guy, you're just going to hop in and, buckle as you go and all that stuff. So, it'll be interesting to see.
No, it makes sense. Heather says, my mom and I get stuck in a big snowdrift at the cemetery on Christmas one year and had to drag some poor tow truck driver away. Hold on real quick.
They got stuck in it. Oh, they went to the cemetery and got stuck.
And they got stuck. Had to leave his family Christmas dinner to come get us out. That's a rough one.
Nice. So
that's
sorry, rough. Dude. Yeah. Sorry. Here's a tip. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, Heather, and sorry to the driver. Yeah, that's a rough one. I wonder how long they were there for. That's like that's like a dark Christmas comedy.
Yes.
Like,
do you want to tell your Christmas disaster story, or do you not want to tell that one on the
air? Which one? I have the one that I was telling.
Started.
So my Christmases have been sporadic over the last probably like 6 or 7 years. Because over the last 6 or 7 years, you've had 6 or 7 different girlfriends. That's not entirely true. There was, I can tell it in a politically correct way.
Sure.
I can figure it out. There was a Christmas Eve, I believe it was Christmas Eve. I spent it in Upper Darby with an ex's family.
Okay. You weren't exes at the time.
You've never been to the Upper Darby, the people are fun. The people are great. They are the definition of kind of like the Philadelphia Go Birds, like Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yes.
That is like the stereotype. It is your typical Delco stereotype.
Okay.
phenomenal people, sincerely enjoyed my time there. That Christmas Eve, we, like everybody else in Delco, you go out, you drink, you go out, you have fun.
And you had a lot of fun.
I had a ton of fun. I had so much fun that I was putting fun onto the front porch by the end of the night. I had so much fun. And so I went to bed and I woke up, and I didn't wake up panicked, but I was very just embarrassed.
Like self-conscious. Yeah.
I just was kind of like, I just need to make sure I have my P's and Q's in order. Took care of all the fun that I left outside on the porch.
Fun cleanup crew.
Yeah. And so the morning kind of went on, and no one really said anything, and people were kind of moving around, and all of a sudden it was like midday, and I finally said to the girl, like, hey, like, are people just not bringing it up? And she was like, no, everybody did that last night. Like, and so the whole thing was kind of like, everybody had fun. Her dad was having fun in the backyard, before he went to bed. It was, go ahead.
And see, that's what's rude. You're the guest, and you take the front porch and make dad go puke in the backyard.
Right.
And how selfish of you.
I guess so. So it was just the irony of, here I went to bed just like a mess and just embarrassed and just kind of like, what is this family going to think tomorrow morning? And then by noon, it kind of dawns on me like, oh my God, everybody.
What they were thinking is this kid is one of us.
Yeah. So
he fits right in.
So needless to say, that was my first and last.
But
Christmas
so how did you not get invited back? This seems like a match made in heaven.
No, it just wasn't gonna work out. I have a lot of relationships where I think the people were great.
They just don't think you were great.
Right. No ill will towards them at all. This was just not gonna be one of them that worked out. But yeah, I had it was a really, really good time.
Are you and we'll get back to Christmas here. Yeah. Are you it's not you, it's me? Is that your go-to? I think we should still be friends.
No,
I think we should see other people. What's your go-to?
It was never that corny. A lot of times, like, it just kind of, it's just like a lost interest. It just kind of gets to the point where it becomes,
you don't do it for me anymore. Is that your line?
Well, first of all, you keep making it about me, and I'm mostly talking from their end.
Okay.
Like, it just becomes a point where it becomes a lack of effort on each side, where it's like, do I really want to go do this weekend? Do I really want to? And once that happens, I don't even think a speech is kind of needed. Like, it just kind of runs its course and it's done.
No, I think a speech is needed.
You think so?
Well, you see,
what's a speech done for anybody?
I was never in the breakup through text era.
Sure.
Is that how it's done?
No, I don't. Listen, I've had relationships end where there wasn't like an exact closure.
Well, I guess if she's in Upper Darby and you're here,
it was never over text. Like, it was never.
But like, yes, if she lives somewhere else and you're here, then it can kind of just be like, obviously we're not dating anymore. Okay. But if you're at college or if you see this person all the time, there needs to be a cut.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. The interesting one about the different relationships is like building it around the holiday. That is like it tells you a lot. Like, it's one thing to go visit family during, July. It's another thing to see family during the holiday. And you kind of start to get a vibe for like, is this going to happen or isn't it?
Okay. All right. What do you want? So we can I don't really have.
You don't have like
I don't have a Christmas disaster story, I don't think. The one our news director, Carrie, told us when we were having a meeting before the show.
Do you want to finish this one real quick? Because that's a good story you're about to tell.
Totally my mom's fault.
I tried to talk her out of it. So an hour in the cemetery on Christmas Day.
Nice.
Stuck in the snow.
Nice.
It's a rough one.
So Carrie said her mom tried to buy a Christmas turkey, and it ended up being a Christmas goose. And when they pulled it out, there was this big long neck.
That's a pretty good one.
No head, but just the neck. And they were like, oh my God, what is that? And the kids were obviously repulsed, and she's been a vegetarian ever since. Actually, she's a vegetarian now.
Was it?
I don't think
okay,
so.
Okay, you played that off very well.
She's a vegetarian now, and the story works better if you tell it that way. But I don't know how much of the cause and effect that was, but could you imagine as a kid? Well, see, you grew up on a farm, so maybe you could imagine.
Like that. It's not like that. I always think of the Christmas story when he says it's smiling at me, and then he chops I believe it's a duck, right? He chops the duck's head off. Do you remember? I mean, that's what always comes into my mind. I think one of the biggest disasters that is always focused around is the kitchen, right?
Right.
So in a Christmas story, the dogs come in and eat the Christmas. Is it turkey? I think it's a Christmas turkey.
Turkey, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can have a Christmas ham too. You kind of go
Christmas ham. But there's so much is based around like the Christmas meal, like the Christmas feast. So I feel like most blunders end up something going wrong with the oven or the meal that is prepared or something along those lines.
I just thought of a really good topic for tomorrow.
Okay.
And I forgot it.
It'll come back to you.
Okay.
Karen says, in our early years of marriage, it was a yearly tradition having our tree fall over and glass everywhere. Things have gotten better over the years. Have you ever had a tree fall over?
No, but I will tell you my best tree experience. You had a tree fall?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think I've ever had a tree fall.
So here's in my brother's house, the one room has a cathedral ceiling.
Okay.
So it might have been the first Christmas tree he bought in this house, and he wanted to have like a Paul Bunyan tree because he had room for it.
Mm.
And so we have this stand, and he gets this honking tree that we're going to put in the tree stand out on the deck, and then we're going to back the tree inside and blah, blah, blah. So that's how we're going to do it. And in looking back, it's so comical because we just had a typical tree stand and this enormous tree. It was like me, and there was either 3 of my friends total or 4 of there's either 3 or 4 of us trying to get this tree into the tree stand. And we're outside and it's snowing and the wind is whipping and we're freezing and we're just like, we're trying. And since the tree is so big, you can't get to the trunk. Like, you got to fight through the branches to get to the trunk.
Sure.
So this is work. It's uncomfortable. It's heavy. You got branches jabbing you in the ear.
Yeah.
It's 25 degrees. The wind is howling. We finally get this thing upright and lined up, and we put it on the tree stand, and it just crushes it like a tin can because it was so heavy. We dropped the tree. We're like, sorry, Mike, this ain't going in today. And I don't know what he did. He must have bought a bigger tree stand, but
that's pretty good.
That was funny. It's funny. At the time, it sucked.
All right, this story I'm about to share with you, I actually know who this is. This story is right up your relationship.
Is it true?
This is a true story.
No.
Yes. My ex-husband called me his mistress's name 2 Christmases ago and then flew home to spend the holiday break with her while leaving me and our 3 children stranded in Florida. Good times. That is a true story.
Wait. Hold on. Called me his mistress's name like in person or on the phone?
In person. This is a true story.
He was drunk.
I don't know. This is a true.
Is this one of those, as we're trying to keep it family appropriate?
Sure.
Was this like one of those stories of in the throes of passion called out the wrong name? Or is this conversational?
Not sure.
Okay. And then
flew home to spend the holiday break with her while leaving me and our 3 children stranded in Florida.
So, okay, this is bad. I'm just trying to piece this through.
What part don't you understand?
So what's the excuse? Like, why was he flying home? Or at that point, was the cat out of the bag?
I mean, the cat, I would assume. Do you think the cat's in the bag?
Well, no. I mean, no.
I mean, the cat is certainly out of the bag at this point.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, that's a pretty bad.
It's
going to be tough to top that one.
That is bad. That's worse than the gooseneck story.
Yes, it is. That's a gooseneck is not so bad.
No, the gooseneck is kind of thing.
Haha, you added Clark. That's great. So there you go. We put Clark over there by Mark. Clark and Mark over there on the side.
Wow.
Yeah, see what I did there? All right, let's see this. Leona, true story. If you know my dad, you'd understand. It was close to Christmas, and my dad saw in the paper bids were being taken for an old Larry's Creek fire truck. So he put in what he thought was a low bid. and he ended up with the highest bid, and we ended up buying a fire truck at Christmas. My mom was furious.
Now I'm just picturing a guy like pulling the fire truck in the driveway.
I will say
that would be awesome.
Whenever I see the old school buses that people have like painted up and they like took out all the seats, you've seen them before? Yeah, I'm always jealous when I see them.
Yeah, I agree.
Always jealous when I see them. Fire truck though, I don't know what can you even. Full disclaimer: I've never been in or on a fire truck.
I have never been on a moving fire truck.
Okay.
Maybe as a little kid when they used to go to maybe then.
Okay.
But yeah, if it's been 40 years if I have been.
So I'm going to naively say, I'm assuming you can't really like renovate a fire truck.
Well, I'm guessing if it's old, I'm guessing like where the ladders are hung to this. I mean, I'm picturing like the Apple Dumpling Gang here.
Okay.
Not that old, but.
I see what you're saying. So you're thinking
it's like more, from the 40s, 50s.
You're thinking it's more like it had a bed on the back of it and it wasn't, okay. That would make more, that's way more useful than what I'm envisioning.
There's something cool about the old time, like people that drive a hearse, an old fire truck. There was an old single house firehouse in Baltimore that was then converted into living space.
That's pretty sweet. And it still had the poles?
And it had the pole. And that was like part of the attraction that, you have this 3-story firehouse. You can own it. You can live in it. Now it's residential. Now it's not a commercial unit. And the fire pole is still there. So if you want to get... So cool. There's something cool about those things. I can only imagine. Especially, there are certain... I can just picture the husband and wife that the husband is driving in with a smile so wide and the wife is just livid. That is awesome.
That or he's not smiling so wide because he knows like he's on the couch, like he's in the doghouse.
Well, he's in the fire truck.
That's true. He could sleep in the
You want me? I'm not sleeping on the couch. I'm sleeping in my fire truck.
He might have to. Robin says, my parents forgot my Christmas gifts when we went to Florida for Christmas. They bought all my presents that year from a local drum shop.
That's awesome.
That's pretty good. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to imagine. Let's say that was the challenge. Let's say you had to go to Rite Aid and you had to shop for Jimmy.
24 hours?
I don't even know what.
Well, now you would just go Amazon gift card, Apple gift card.
Yeah, that's true.
Now you would go.
Now you would just go to the gift card section and you would
because there's a 50-50 chance that's what I'm getting my kids anyway.
Anyway, okay, that's true. That makes it a little bit difference. I have cats and small children. Many trees have fallen over. That's true. I don't have kids or cats.
So. I remember we had a cat, and I remember the first time that the little cat climbed up in a tree, and it was just sitting on one, and you could see its eyes.
In the Christmas tree?
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
Then I probably by the next year, she was too big, and she could tell that, it wasn't going to hold her. But yeah, as a kitten, she just climbed right up.
We'll give Chris a shout out. If you are Chris's grandchildren, they love you. Was that good?
I mean, so he says. I mean, what's he supposed to say? My grandkids, I can take them or leave them?
She says it was a loving moment. How's that for putting it a politically correct way?
Okay.
This is our Florida story.
Okay. Yeah, so, that would...
it's a rough one. That's a rough Christmas. With 3 kids?
It's always, from a guy who's been through a quote-unquote failed marriage. Although I tell people my marriage didn't fail, it just ended. But it was a long, slow death. The people who have the abrupt, like they swindle all the money and it's gone. They're having an affair with that person and it's like that would be odd.
Yes, it would. Leona, about the fire truck, it was awesome. We rode around on that thing on our 11 acres a lot. Once in a while, my brothers would get in trouble for hitting the siren. So it had sirens.
That's all. I don't see a downside to this.
Even the truck I was picturing didn't have sirens.
Leona doesn't understand. This is not a Christmas disaster. This is like this falls under the greatest Christmas gifts of all time category.
That's fair.
Can you imagine? Could you imagine she's in like 3rd grade and they're like, so what was the best Christmas you got? My dad got a fire truck.
Yeah.
Oh, was it a little Hess truck? No, it's parked outside.
Yeah,
He drove me to school in it today. And they'd be like, sure, he did. No, he did. It's a fire truck.
He really did. Different Facebook user. My dad threw the Christmas tree out the back porch because he couldn't get it to stand up. My grandparents called at the time and we told them what happened. 5 minutes later, Santa called to ask why a Christmas tree was thrown out of our house. It's pretty good.
I have a buddy whose dad, back in the days where you could burn all your trash, apparently used to pile all the wrapping paper in it like one time and then light it.
Okay.
So there was this overflowing inferno of, and one time the neighbors called and they're like, hey, we're waiting to watch you burn the trash. We just wondered what time you were going to do it.
That's pretty good. Old fire engines were basically pickup truck bodies. Yeah. That's what I was picturing. I wonder, maybe Leona will let us know. That's what I always pictured. She says, like I said, if you knew my dad, you never knew what he might bring home. Usually it was animals. Lots of story, no time, but he was quite a character. So there you go. That was pretty good. Do you have any other? I'm trying to think of I don't have real blunders.
I don't have a brutal one. I left when I was living in Baltimore and I was coming up. I was really, really proud of my mom's gift. It was back when living room fountains were just becoming a thing.
Okay.
But they weren't everywhere yet. And I think they're cool. Like people who have the landscaping and they have that fountain with a couple, I think those things are fantastic.
Yeah.
So I had this desktop fountain for my mom and I thought it was the greatest thing and I left it. And I drove up from Baltimore and I was like,
left it behind.
I got there. I was like, oh my gosh, it's sitting right in the kitchen on the thing. And so you're bummed because I was like, I got you a great gift and you're going to get it January 16th when I see you again. And
yeah.
So that one sucked. One of my funnier stories, and this isn't even me. This is from a friend of mine who was the pastor at our church. He's from Danville. Ollie Wagner, and his dad was an attorney down in Danville. I can't think what's Ollie. Oh, it's George. His dad was George Wagner. But anyway, so he's like, we're rushing in for Christmas, and Christmas is always packed. Okay. And if you don't. Did you go to Christmas Eve service? Or do you not?
We did a couple of times. It's not like this traditional thing that we typically do. But we have gone before depending on who was in town. And
okay, here's how it works. Normal church service, as long as you're there 2 minutes before, you can even be there 2 minutes in and you get a good seat. Okay. Christmas Eve, if you're not there a half hour early, you're not getting a good seat.
Okay.
They're cramming. People get there early because they know that seats are going to be hard to come by.
Okay.
So he said, of course, we're running late. He probably blamed his dad, and then you can't find, and then the later you get, you can't find parking. And depending on if you're in a downtown church and the lot's overflowing, and now so he dropped the kids off and the wife off at the door. And he said, and there was a balcony in their church in Danville, and I'm not sure which, I think it was Presbyterian, but I'm not sure, maybe somebody from Danville would know. But he's like, the kids all went up in the balcony and the family went and sat down in the thing. So he's like, my mom got in before the service started, but my dad had to go find a place to park or whatever. And then, so he waited outside until the ushers came up with the offering plate. Because the ushers come up and then they go and they pass around the offering plate. Yeah. So there's either 4 or 6 or depending on how many. Well, this time there was an odd number because his dad snuck in with the ushers and he kind of hung it. And then when he got to his aisle, he kind of dove in.
Yeah.
So he missed the first half of the service because he was parking the car and then was too embarrassed to walk in all by himself. So he tried to sneak in with the ushers. So I thought that was very clever.
That's pretty good. That's a good one.
That is.
I have, as far as blunders, when I was younger, I'm trying to think how I want to frame the story. So you have Christmas Day, but then the following weekend, we would usually go to my grandparents' house in Blossburg. We refer to them as Bushi and Jaji, Polish for grandma and grandpa. My Jaji was a very loving person, but he was a very, very stoic figure, like over 6 feet tall, broad, big dude. And he just had this very bellowing coach's voice where it just it was thunderous. It just kind of filled the room. So he had this huge basement and all the kids would be down there. So you would have 8 to 10 kids just down there running around, doing whatever. The adults would be upstairs celebrating Christmas, and then we'd have this big meal. We were playing around, and at the time, my grandparents had the old phone with you had to spin it.
Oh, yeah.
What's the word
Rotary.
I'm looking for? Rotary, right? And it hung on the wall. It was black, and it looked like one from the cartoons. Like it had like you held the bottom and you had the top.
Really?
And I mean, it was a very old phone.
That's cool.
And it looked straight out of the cartoons. And I thought I thought it was a toy. Like I had no idea that this phone
it still worked.
Yeah, I had no idea. So we're playing, and like there's police and fire truck and everything else, and we're playing. So I pick up the phone and I'm pretending to call 911. And I just like da-da-da-da-da, and I hang it up and I think nothing of it. Like 60 seconds later, the door from the top opens up, and we can see my grandfather's feet, and he just bellows down, "Who called 911?" And like 7-year-old me is terrified. That's worse than the police. Like that's
right.
So he says it, and I tell the truth because I'm terrified of what's about to happen if I don't tell the truth. Right. So I say it was me. And he, don't do it again and everything else. So we go to eat like an hour later. I will not come up the stairs because I am so just distraught and embarrassed. And just how could I didn't know the phone, and my grandfather yelling down at me and everything else. So my mom had to come down and kind of like convince me to like come
I thought you were
up.
going to say she brought food to the basement.
No, I don't think that happened. I'm pretty sure I had to be like coaxed out of the basement. So if I have any family or cousins listening, they will remember that story of when I called 911.
When you were a troublemaker.
Because 911 calls you back, obviously. Like if you call in and then you get disconnected, they call the line back.
See, and I just see that as being such a generational thing. Because if that happened now, if my 7-year-old...
See, just to verify that story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If my 7-year-old called 911 on a phone because they thought it was a toy, like I'd be like, no, dude, that's a real phone. Like you can't do that.
Yeah.
My first reaction would not be to yell. And that was... Like that was the generation. That's how we were brought up. Like kid do something wrong, you yell.
I think there was a generation gap. I think there was also a gap of why would you think that was a toy? Like but the only time I had ever seen a phone like that was literally in like the old style cartoons.
Right.
Like and cartoons aren't real, wasn't so this phone can't possibly be connected to anything.
Right.
And at that time I had never seen anyone use that phone.
And here's the other aspect. You were 7.
I was 7. I was very much convinced that not that I was stupid, but I was so embarrassed. Like I was just so like, how did I not know? And it was a whole thing.
Did I ever tell you that story?
So there we go.
I'm coaching as the part of being 7. I'm coaching a Little League game. I'm helping coach. I was the head coach. And it's a tournament. And I'm sitting on the bucket keeping the scorebook. And the one dad's kid was playing second base. And as you can imagine in minor league baseball, the ball's hit, it gets thrown all over the place, whatever. The batter ends up running to second. He's standing on first, but he runs to second because no one's covering second.
Sure.
And this guy's kid is standing at second base, like watching the chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts yelling at his kid because he didn't cover second base. And he gets done, and it's like, hey, you know why he didn't cover second? Because he's 7. And he goes, yeah, but that's his base, and now they got this and this and this and then he's got to cover it. Yeah. And I looked at him, I said, I get all that. He's still 7. So yes, we have this sometimes we forget. I think the older generations forget. Like
no, 100%. Can you think of anything else? I'm just trying to think of different things, but those are my two big ones as far as blunders or things that had happened.
I don't think I have a great. I don't think so.
Okay.
No, if I do, I can't think of a good one. I don't have.
That makes sense.
I think most Christmas trees falling over are from pets.
Oh, sure.
My dogs we never had a cat until I got older, but I never had
my
a dog.
My dog drinks from the water underneath.
Well, see, we have an artificial tree, so there's no water to drink from.
You Scrooge. Lisa says, I was always impatient even as a kid. My mom was sitting in another room, and I knew the hiding spot for the Christmas gifts. I didn't know she snuck up on me and busted me carefully unwrapping my gifts. I think Lisa's referring to the oh, no, that would be, I mean, the blunder is she got caught early opening her gifts. Interesting.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. I've never heard that before.
I'm trying to
think if I've heard of kids opening up their gifts before
I wonder how many kids know where the hiding spot is for the gifts, and the parents don't know that the kids know.
That they know? That's a good question. I'm not sure.
Because I never did. I never looked.
I don't know how much the hiding spot mattered before the pandemic for like the last 4 or 5 years. I think
that's true. That's valid.
I think people might have been getting stuff shipped, and you only had to hide it for 10 days,
right?
8 days, because Amazon and everything else. Whereas before, like you'd go to the department store, you'd have to hide it for 2-3 months, maybe, that kind of stuff. I feel like that might not be the world we live in anymore. The hiding spot might not be as important as it once was.
I can't stop thinking of the guy who called out his mistress's name and then flew home.
I knew that I knew that was going to be.
Could you imagine
a used story? Can I imagine it? No, I cannot imagine.
Neither can I.
I mean, I'm not married and I don't have 3 kids, so it's very hard for me to even wrap my head around the situation before that.
Yeah, that's a bad one.
No, it's rough.
That's a bad one.
You want to do some?
That's winners? More than a blunder.
Yes, that's fair to say. Let's do some winners. Let's see who's going to win today.
All right, who's going to win?
Well, real quick, just run us down.
Clark Griswold.
Clark Griswold is the winner.
You see the winner?
No. We're going to thank Weiss Markets, and then let's go through the board, just kind of remind everybody what's on the wheel, and then we can do some winners.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Have you watched Christmas Vacation yet this year?
I started it Sunday. I think I started it on Sunday, got through like the first 20 minutes, and then other people came into the room and we decided to watch something else. But I did start it, which is not typical for me.
Yeah, there is a... Have you ever noticed that with movies? One of them for me is Shawshank, but one of them is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Mm-hmm. You see it so much, and you just kind of stumble across it somewhere in the middle that you so very, very rarely see the beginning.
Yes. And
there'll be times you're like, I've seen this movie 10 times, but oh my gosh, I don't even remember this because I didn't go back to the beginning. So yes, Christmas Vacation is one of them. So we have Tony's Deli, we have Eat and Run Catering, we have Rainbow Carpet, we have Williamsport Moving, we have Fresh Life, we have the CBD store, we have Chaos Fun Zone, we have Willard's, we have Moon and Raven. Did we hit them all? I think that's all for now. And that's all we got.
All right, that'll work for us. What do you want to do first today? Like, comment, share.
Let's do comment.
Comments. Let's do comment. As I'm dumping these in, we will be reaching out. Someone had asked at one point, comment winner is going to be Charles McKnight. We had a couple people ask, how can we claim our gift cards? We will mail them to you. If you have not received a direct message from us, you will very shortly. Some of you have received messages from the first day and the second day. If you were today or tomorrow or yesterday, you'll be hearing from us shortly. So you cannot technically claim it. We're going to mail it out to you, and that's how it'll work.
There we go. Charles, congratulations. See, I'm going. That's clockwise.
That's clockwise.
It is clockwise. There we go. Winner, Eat and Run.
Eat and Run. Good one.
There we go.
Like or share. Congratulations, Charles.
Let me jam that down in there. What did we just do?
We just did comments.
Can we do hugs?
No, we cannot do hugs. We can do likes, though.
We can do likes?
Likes, hugs, and cares.
There we go. Ready?
All right. Hold on one second. No, we need a winner. Hold on one second. Our winner is Robin Worthington.
There you go.
Here it is. That wheel looks great.
It does look cool. You did very well. Oh, it's going to be the same one. Oh, almost. Williamsport Moving.
Nice. Which is a
Panera gift card.
Panera gift card. Thank you to Williamsport Moving Company. And then the last one we got is the share. 1 second.
Oh, yeah. I'm ahead of the game.
Oh my gosh. You're jumping the gun. And our winner is Mary Price Ryan. I hope I'm saying that right. Mary Price Ryan.
I wonder if she's married. I went to high school with a kid named Ryan, and that's how he spelled it. So I wonder if it's his wife.
Good spin.
Eat and run again.
Eat and run. All right.
There we go.
Good stuff.
So we got two. Why does that one keep sliding out? That one wants to.
I don't know. We'll have to tape it down or something.
Yeah, I mean, it fits, and then it just keeps escaping. So eat and run. 2 for Eat and Run Catering. We didn't give an Eat and Run away for a while.
No.
And the other one for Williamsport Moving Company. Thanks to Jack McKernan, president, who has thrown in a couple Panera gift cards.
Awesome. So congratulations to Robin. Congratulations to Charles. And last but not least, congratulations to Mary. We'll be reaching out to you. And if you haven't heard from us, you'll be hearing from us shortly.
I'm going to rewind the show when we're done and watch. There was something that you said that tripped the trigger for a good topic of conversation coming up, and I can't remember.
No, you can't remember. I thought you jotted it down there on your note.
I picked up my pen. I waited till like the sentence was over, whatever we were talking about. Then I picked up my pen. I couldn't remember what it was. And it was good. It was super good.
No, I'm sure. Just to recap, in order to win, in order to win tomorrow, you have to like, comment, or share on today's video. You can do one or you can do all three. So we are one day ahead of when you actually can qualify to win. So
correct.
On today's video, like, comment, share. That gives you the opportunity to win tomorrow. Make sense?
There we go.
All right. Anything else you want to hit before we go?
We want the update.
I got to read into it. I did not.
Oh, you're not prepared.
We had the meeting before the show today, and unfortunately I didn't get a chance to dive back into it. I don't want to make stuff up. I want to make sure that I'm well.
Why? We make stuff up all the time.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
It is. I'll tell you what. The news is not great. Keep an eye out tomorrow. We're going to try to do the Kentucky fundraiser for the tornado. So we'll have a link for that. We'll be asking anybody who can help us out with that as well. We really appreciate it, because I cannot even imagine what some of these people are going through 2 weeks before the holidays.
No, that would suck.
So interesting. I'm trying to think. Anything else?
That's all I got.
That's all I got. All right. We can call it early today. Not a problem.
I think that's it. I'm just going to spend the rest of my day trying to think what that was.
It's going to bother you. It's going to be a mental block for you is what it's going to be.
It could be.
It could be. Well, thank you guys for watching the 12 Days of Giveaways. We will be back tomorrow with 3 more winners. Thank you to Weiss Markets, our title sponsor. Be sure to go there for all your grocery needs. And for your local news needs, be sure to go to NorthcentralPa.com. You're good at that. It's like you've said that before. It's like I've done it a couple of times. Try it. I'm Jeff Everett. He's Mark Messina. We will see you tomorrow. Later.